And you guys can tune in each week, or you can catch it in replay on the Facebook page, Doctor's Clinic with Doc Biz and Friends.
Or on YouTube.
How you doing? Or on YouTube, yes.
I try and get it on YouTube within a couple hours after we finish the call. So yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And subscribe to the channel, and you'll get the updates immediately when I post them. But it's youtube.com/C, the letter C, and then the words Sizzle World Team, Sizzle World Team, and then subscribe to that, and you'll get these updates every week, Andrea.
Right.
You'll know.
That's right.
So, hey, I've despite last week being my birthday, I just want to say this, and everybody taking me out for dinner and this and that, and I even had a couple drinks, but I initially gained 3 pounds, but I've lost that.
Sweet.
That was over Easter and then over my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm back down to where I was 2 weeks ago, pre-birthday, pre-Easter, and I'm pretty excited, Andrea. I think the products that we're taking and with Sizzle are working. They keep my hunger under control, and it keeps my fat burning up high.
Right.
We're going to talk a little bit about weight loss today and why it's important. So that's why I brought that up. But I was just reading actually on Sunday, and I thought it'd be an interesting topic. From 100 years ago till the 80s, till when I was 25 years old, heart disease was on the decline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were saying that they made significant drops in the number of people that were having death due to heart disease and sudden death because of it.
Okay, that's interesting. What changed?
So the biggest change that they say that they did was they looked at the risk factors, and smoking was one of the biggest risk factors.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got a lot of people to quit smoking. By the 80s, smoking wasn't cool like it'd been in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
So we saw everybody trying to quit smoking, and so it's interesting to read up on it, because they say prior to the early 1900s, cigarette smoking really wasn't that big of a deal.
Because they were smoking natural stuff.
Well, they were smoking natural stuff, but everybody rolled their own or had their pipe and things like that. And so smoking got to be big popular when the tobacco companies came out with pre-made cigarettes and started marketing the crap out of them.
Yes, World War II, they gave it to all the servicemen overseas to get them hooked on it. Yep. So when they came back, they would all be smokers.
Well, I don't know. Let's just say let's not make them the villain, and let's just say that they gave it to them because they wanted they wanted to calm the soldiers down, and nicotine does that. So I mean, I agree with you. I think that they did, but let's just say that let's not make them the villain.
Okay.
And let's just say that they, that was one of the side effects, that they found out that tobacco and nicotine were highly addictive. And then the tobacco companies started making all this money, and they wanted to increase the number of people that were smoking. So they started adding additives, flavor enhancers, and things like that. And that's really what made the tobacco addicting. It's the chemicals.
They made it a titration device. It's not really a cigarette. It's a titration device. They put things in it to addict you.
to addict you. And that was after World War II. But because before World War II, it was, probably mostly just tobacco, where now they take the tobacco, they grind it all up, they make a slurry, and then they dry it in ovens, and then they shred it and they put it back into the cigarette with the chemicals in it.
300 plus chemicals.
300 plus chemicals, is that right?
Yes.
So I thought it was interesting, and then so I read up on cigarette smoking. In the early 1900s, the late 1800s, early 1900s, we didn't have a lot of lung cancer. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
There wasn't a lot of lung cancer. And so then they got people to start smoking cigarettes, whether it was, the villainous activity or whether it was just, activity. But when people started to smoke, they didn't initially see the cancer rates going up. Do you know why?
I would say because it was natural. It was natural tobacco.
No, the answer is that because it takes a while for cancer to develop.
Mm.
So they initially said, oh, cigarette smoking, it must be, it's not bad for you. It doesn't cause cancer, because if I started smoking today, I'm not going to have cancer tomorrow.
Right.
I'm not going to have cancer in 20 years. 30 years seems to be the cutoff point, or the magic number. So they found that by smoking cigarettes, if they would have said, hey, we're going to do a 30-year study and we're going to see, the cancer rates, boom, they did. Took 30 years for them to realize that, hey, this isn't good. And, so all of the things that they did to get people to quit smoking, they started to see the fruition then. It took a while. It wasn't until, recently that they saw those cancer numbers going down, because, of course, if they got people to quit smoking 30 years ago, the numbers of people that were smoking would just be developing cancer today. You see that?
Well, I get that, but I also know that, they started putting warning labels on cigarette packages in the 60s per ruling of a court that they had to do that. And when I went back to college in the early 90s, I was appalled at how many young people stood out on campus between classes smoking. It was just like tons of young people smoking. So their whole program of trying to shut that down didn't work.
Well, it actually did, because in the 90s, the numbers of people smoking, the percentage had gone down significantly. I was looking at the numbers earlier today.
Okay.
So it did work. However, like on campuses and things like that, yeah. I remember, Andrea, I used to smoke 3 packs a day when I went to college. But
That's crazy.
Can you imagine smoking 3 packs a day? You smoke them, you set it down, you go to class. You take a couple puffs. I really wasn't smoking 3 packs a day. I was probably not even smoking a full pack, because I was lighting up cigarettes, but I wasn't actually smoking them. Is there a delay?
No, I'm just waiting for you to go on.
Oh, okay. I 2 weeks ago we had a delay and things, that I'd say something and it'd take you a few minutes before you responded. So I knew there was a delay. But, so where are we going with all this? All right. So they got people to quit smoking. Boom. They saw the, now they're seeing the fruits of their labor, right? Somewhere along the line, they got people to start watching things like cholesterol and all those things, and we saw heart disease numbers going down. By the 80s, heart disease numbers, people dying from heart disease and sudden death from heart disease, cardiovascular events, the numbers had gone down. But now we're starting to see a phenomenon, Andrea, and this is why I thought this would be an important topic to talk about. we're starting to see that the cardiovascular numbers are starting to go back up. Percentage-wise, the number of people dying from heart disease and cardiovascular events is taking a reverse, and it's actually going up now. And it's mainly middle-aged people, not old people, people from the ages of 45 to 60, under 64, under the age of
Mhm.
64. And so I thought, that's interesting. So I wanted to find out, why is the numbers going up? Why were we making such great strides on it? And now we're starting to see that go up. What would be your guess?
Toxins.
No.
Yes.
That might be part of it, but the main reason is obesity and overweight,
Right.
right? So
But heart disease, they discovered, is caused from inflammation. Where do you get inflammation?
yeah. So well, I mean, so we want to talk about these things. So here's what they found between the year 2011 2017. That's when this study was done. They said that in the age group of the 45 to 65-year-old person, which is a middle-aged men and women, they found that of the people that had increased heart disease, died from heart disease, and had died from cardiovascular events, 40% of them were obese, 30% were overweight, almost 11% had diabetes, and almost 50% had high blood pressure. So I'm just going by these numbers, right? Prior to that, they found that between the years 1980 to 2014, so before this study was done, they had seen a decrease in cardiovascular events and cardiovascular death by 50% in the same age group people.
Hmm.
So it went down by 50%, and now it's going back up. And yeah, so yeah, geez, isn't that something? So they found that they're linking it to clogging of the arteries, so atherosclerosis, which increases the risk, by a huge percentage. And they're saying it's because of obesity and type 2 diabetes, which, like you said, causes inflammation, right? And it
Right.
causes inflammation of the soft tissue inside the blood vessels.
Right.
Interesting.
Which probably causes the damage, which causes the body to try to repair it, which causes clogged arteries.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I mean, if you link to the clogged arteries, I mean, everything like that. I mean, we can go through the whole thing with toxicity and how blood sugar is a toxin, and it causes the biofeedback loops that cause the inflammation. It causes the increased triglycerides and all that. But okay, so we won't get into all that because that's a topic all of its own. But
Right.
here's what they found is they said, okay, so we've got this time bomb growing in us.
You
People
do.
are our age group. People our age group have this time bomb growing in us because we're getting these clogged arteries and things like that. And they're saying, so there's 3 markers that they tested. This is a study that I read. They looked at HbA1c, the hemoglobin A1c, right?
Mhm.
Andrea, it's interesting. When I was in my clinic, when I started ordering the A1C test on my patients, insurance companies wouldn't pay for that test. They said, "Oh no, that's non-diagnostic. It's just an experimental thing."
Now it's a standard test.
Oh yeah,
They
and
do it,
I
they do it
had
every 6 months.
internal medicine doctors here in Fargo telling my patients that, why in the world is he ordering? Why is Dr. Fisnick ordering that test? It's not necessary. It doesn't show anything, right? So
Mhm.
they found that's an important test. They found that measuring insulin levels is an important test. They found that measuring glucose is an important test for heart disease. These 3 tests.
Okay.
So here's the study. This is where it gets interesting. They found that if you were able to reduce one of those risk factors, just one of those risk factors, any one of the 3, you reduced your risk of cardiovascular events and heart disease by between 36 to 41%.
That's good.
Just by reducing one of those. If you reduce two of those factors, two of those blood marker tests, you reduced your risk of cardiovascular disease and heart disease by over 50% by
That's better.
reducing two of those, either in any one of the three. And if you reduced your all three, the HbA1c, the insulin, and the glucose, you reduced your risk of cardiovascular death and heart disease events by over 60%, Andrea.
A person does that. Great.
Yeah, so reduce your HbA1c, your insulin, and your glucose. And in return, like you were talking about, that reduces the inflammatory markers of CRP and those types of things. So I thought it'd be important to list the numbers. You know about HbA1c, right? So what's the number? What's the magic number? What's you want to be under what number?
I don't know.
6.5. 6.5. People
Okay.
ask me all the time, what's the number? 6.5. Okay. Cholesterol, total cholesterol, you want to be under 175.
Okay.
Under 175. This is optimal. But you don't want to be below 140. You know why? What happens when you get below 140 on your total cholesterol?
I don't know what happens to a person when they do that.
It actually reverses it, and they have a higher risk for cardiovascular events because they don't have enough good fats. They don't have enough fats in their body. So between 140 to 175. Triglycerides, you want to be below 150. Below 150. And blood pressure. The blood pressure, the magic number there is that you want to be below 130 over 80.
They changed it on us.
Well, no, this is just their study. I mean, optimal, range, they're, kind of average, they're saying 120 over 80, but they're just saying if you get it below 130 over 80, you're at least, it's considered controlled.
Great.
I went to the neurosurgeon when I had my 2 weeks ago when I got retested for my broken back, and my blood pressure is 124 over 80 now.
What was it before?
Oh man, I was running. I couldn't seem to get the upper number below 135. But I had reduced it from 180 because prior to taking the Sizzle products, my blood pressure was pretty high, Andrea. I mean, I actually went to the doctor once, and they said, "Oh man, it was running high."
Yeah, 180 is pretty high.
Yeah. Well, I've got people that I know that run higher than that, but anyhow, using diet and things like that, I was able to drop it down to 135, and using Sizzle products, the Restore, things like that, I was able to get it down below, and then now, because I've lost 40 pounds, my blood pressure's gone down again. I'm feeling pretty fantastic about that. So
I bet you are. 40 pounds is great. A really good achievement, and it makes you feel like a brand new person.
Yep. So the deal is that when you have when you're losing weight and you're doing it like what we're proposing for people to do, you're being aggressive on controlling your blood sugars. You're doing aggressive glycemic control. We're going to call it that. Aggressive glycemic control. So what does that do? It reduces your inflammation. It reduces your risk of retinopathy, which is problems with the eye. It reduces neuropathy. And it decreases your risk of kidney failure. So,
all good things.
On top of reducing your risk of having heart disease and heart attack and stroke, you're reducing your risk of having to have future dialysis.
It's great.
You're reducing your risk of having to go on medications for numbness in your feet. You're reducing your risk of having macular degeneration and retinopathy, problems with your vision. I mean, these are all good things, aren't they, Andrea? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah. No, I think they're good.
For those of you that are listening to our call, comment. chances are, somebody that's suffering from these types of things, and it'd be important for them to know this stuff, share this with them. And for those of us that don't have anything going on, I mean, Andrea, the numbers right now, they're saying that 72% of Americans are either overweight or obese right now. 3/4 of us.
Yeah, all you got to do is go out in public and look around and you can see that.
Yeah. And they compare it back to even 20, 30 years ago, and you can just see. And so, that goes back to what you were talking about earlier when I said, hey, what's caused of the numbers going up? Well, that's because of toxins. People are eating. I swear nobody cooks at home anymore,
Right.
right? I mean, they go out to
Most,
eat.
yeah.
Yeah. So here's a study. It was 2016, so I know it was 5 years ago. But folks, hey, look, it takes a while for them to report some of these studies. But it's a JAMA study, so Journal of American Medical Association. They said that if you controlled your blood sugar, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, and kidney function, if you got all of those 4 things under control, they found that there was no difference in the risk factors between somebody that was normal weight and somebody who was overweight. If you could get the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the cholesterol, and the kidney disease under control, and you could manage those functions of the body, then the risk factors all went back down to normal. Isn't that something? But they
Yeah.
found that obesity increases the risk of heart failure by 4 times.
Yeah, it's pretty taxing on the heart.
So anyhow, that's my notes. I'm all done with it. That's my notes for today, Andrea. So what do you think of all that? Pretty interesting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a goal for that people should shoot for.
People should shoot for that, right? And they should try and get all those numbers under control. I mean, and people say, well, it's too hard. I can't do that. Right. See how quickly I can make a paper airplane?
There go those notes.
There goes those notes flying away. But Andrea, I've been battling weight since really since I got out of chiropractic college.
Mm-hmm.
34 years ago. And I look back because prior to graduating from chiropractic college, I'd go riding bicycle, pedal bike. I'd go riding pedal bike, and we'd pedal. In the summer months, we'd pedal 30 miles a day. Me and my buddies would go riding out on the back roads, the paved roads. We'd go riding on the back roads, and we had a lot of fun. We rode a lot of bicycle. I went to the gym, all the time. We played racquetball and things like that, and we were just active. We were always out moving around, doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seemed, and I didn't really. I don't know. I mean, I probably drank 2 cans of soda a day. I mean, thinking back. I smoked cigarettes, but you know, I mean, I always cooked for myself, but I graduated, had kids, worked in my office, got married. She liked to cook processed food. We ate a lot of processed food, um, and I think that was my downfall. And all of a sudden the weight started coming on, and it wasn't like all of a sudden I woke up and I was 12 pounds overweight. It
Mm-hmm.
was just
Comes
a
in
little bit of,
gradually.
yeah, it was a little bit at a time. It was a pound here, pound there, and so you didn't really pay much attention to it. You're thinking, oh, I'll get that under control later. I'll get that under control later. And then all of a sudden I'm going, holy crap, I'm 30 pounds overweight. And then
Right.
I got in my motorcycle accident, and I was in a wheelchair for a couple of years, and my friends and I were just talking about it the other day, and I slipped into a depression, and we talked about that. And for us guys, it's hard to talk about depression. I mean, it really is. And so you eat more, and you things like that. And And yeah, I put on
Plus you
another
had
30.
your phys-
I put on another 30 pounds. I can tell there's a delay in oh, you left. I was just saying I can tell there's a delay in the.
I'm back, but I can't see you. I guess we're almost done.
Okay. So I just wanted to share that, because I think that by sharing my own testimonial, I can share, what I've done for it, and what
Mhm.
I've been able to do, and I think there you are. Your video came back. No delay anymore. I can see it. But so what things have I done? Well, number one, I went back to eating a non-processed food diet. I did that about 16 years ago after I got divorced, and I started eating. After I started eating non-processed foods, I make my own food, right?
Right?
Um, and I eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I eat primarily. My meat comes from wild game, which I love. Because I like it. I just like it. It's healthier for you. I try to use whole fruits and vegetables, and that. Um, but in North Dakota, same as in Michigan, it's hard to get those types of foods for a whole, fresh fruit and vegetables for about half the year, right? I mean, you can
Yeah,
get it, but it's not
you can
fresh.
get it.
It's
No.
yeah. So I started buying a lot of frozen because frozen, at least that it was ripened on the vine, it was ripened on the plant, and then they processed it and they froze it. So I like buying frozen versus canned. You know,
Yeah, canned isn't worth anything. There's no
no,
nutritional value in it at all.
but I like frozen, so I use a lot of frozen, and now this time of year I'll use a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that. I've actually got a crock pot going right now, but so I'm using fresh foods, and I'm going to tell you that's a great way of going. Um, I cut out all the dairy, Andrea. I used to think that dairy was healthy for you, so I drank milk, I ate a lot of cheese, and I found out that dairy is loaded with sugars.
Yep, all but eggs. Eggs are good.
And so I cut back on that drastically. Like, you know, I'll buy some whole cream and I'll use that because that's mostly good fat. But
Hmm.
and I watch the cheese that I eat. I make sure now that I'm buying the aged cheeses that have they're better for you, right?
Real cheese,
Yeah,
like
real
real
cheese
cheese. There's a lot of
versus
fake cheese out there.
yeah, processed. We'll call it processed instead of fake,
Hmm.
but a lot of processed cheese. Yeah, and so that makes a difference.
Yep.
Um, I haven't really been a big candy or sweet eater. I don't have any like if you go in my cupboards, I don't have popcorn, chips, any of that kind of stuff. I never really have. No soda. I spent 14 years since I drank soda.
Yep.
Yeah. And since my accident, that's when I quit that. You know what actually got me to quit drinking soda was I read a study that said that if you drink 2 cans of soda a week, or was it 3 cans, 2 or 3 cans a week, it increased your risk of pancreatic cancer by 80%.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, and I thought
Also, one can of soda will, along with anything else with high sugar content, lowers your immune system for 5 or 6 hours.
for 5 or 6 hours, man.
Hmm.
So it decreases your immunity and it causes an increased risk in cancer. Yeah, okay, that's a good reason to stop all that stuff,
Right?
And I mean, I don't think it's just a white thing to do. It's just a thing to do. Quit drinking the
Hey,
soda. We won't get into the political side of it, but
no,
anyhow, but so those are some things that you can do on your own. It doesn't cost any more money to do that. It's a little bit of an inconvenience because you got to cook. You actually got to cook, and but like my son and his fiance, on Sundays they plan out the entire week. They go out grocery shopping on Sunday and they buy a week's worth of groceries, and then they plan out what am I going to have on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think it's a great way of doing it.
yep.
I'm not that good. I plan mine. I wake up at 7:30 and I go, okay, what am I going to eat today?
trick is to have good stuff on hand.
I have it on hand. But then Andrea, so now let's talk about the stuff that actually it's gonna cost you some money. You're gonna have to flip some greenbacks out of your wallet. You've got to get this stuff under control, and like we were talking about, you can't get good fresh fruits and vegetables in this part of the country most of the year, and so you're not getting all your vitamins and your minerals. And there's a vitamin mineral deficiency. I mean, I was just reading about a vitamin B12 deficiency in our country. We know that there's a magnesium deficiency and all that. So you got to buy supplements. And you can't just go to the store, and I won't list any names, but you can't just go buy the over-the-counter vitamins. They're worthless. I mean, one guy that formulated the most popular over-the-counter multivitamin, he told me, he said you might as well drive down the road with your sunroof open and flip the vitamins out the roof and eat the bottle. He said it's healthier for you to eat the bottle than it was to eat the vitamin.
Yeah.
And he formulated it for these guys that wanted it, but they kept cutting the price on them because of the they wanted to make it so that it was affordable for everybody, so that they thought where they were the price break. But the problem with it is that I mean, if you're spending $3-4 on something that's not working, then it's not really affordable.
Right.
So you got to get something that's more affordable. I like Sizzle products. Of course, I'm biased to that company because I found that I can trust them when they say, "Here's what's in the bottle." We know that's what's in the bottle, Andrea, right?
Right.
Nothing.
They are certified with that good manufacturing seal.
GMP rating.
FDA comes in and checks them all the time, and they have to have at least what it says in the bottle or above.
Yep. And I remember last year I was talking to Tom Senior, about this time. It was I think it was May, so it was almost a year ago. And he said, yeah, they were at the manufacturing right then. And he said, oh yeah, they're going through everything. And so that's important. We know what's in our product. Where some of these vitamins, you don't know what's really in there. I mean, they might take and say, oh yeah, we've got some vitamin C in there. We've got a little bit of lutein in there. And they sprinkle a little bit in, and they tell you it's in there. And they come up with us too, we have that product too, but they really don't.
Right.
But so that's a multivitamin. And then on top of it, Andrea, they say that most of us aren't getting the fiber that we need. Women are supposed to get somewhere around, I'm going to say 25 grams a day. Men are supposed to get around 35 grams a day of fiber. And, if you're in between on what sex you are, then take an in-between number between 25 and 35.
There you go.
But, so that's where we're sitting on that you want to get fiber. So where do we get fiber? Well, the best way fiber is from your diet. Eat lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, but we also get it in our Sizzle Thin product, has fiber in it. So that's a good source of fiber. Plus, it's got some things to help you with hunger, help you build lean muscle, which, you get to our age, after the age of 40, and they show that adults start to lose lean muscle mass after the age of 40, 45. And so you want to build that. So that's an important reason to use Sizzle Thin. You can lose weight and gain muscle at the same time because of the way that they make a special protein, a whey protein that hasn't been cooked. It's been non-denatured. And then there's another product. We have another product that's called Ripped, Andrea. You want to tell people what Ripped does?
Oh, Sizzle Ripped is a blend of amino acids that is patented, developed by a doctor with millions of dollars of research behind it. And it's the perfect blend to provide your body with substances that your body pulls from food to rebuild muscle. But when you take it as a liquid supplement, your body can readily use it right away. And it helps restore muscle and also build muscle.
Yeah, and how it does it, Andrea, is it actually works as a messenger. They're finding that food is a messenger. So it's not really that the amino acids build the muscle. What they found is that the amino acids, what they actually do, this blend of branched chain amino acids, what they do is they send a message to your brain that says, hey, you're still alive. build some muscle, man. And so
Mhm.
that's what RIP does. It's a great product. I love it. I take it every day. And then of course, we've been talking about weight loss and obesity and things like that. About 4 months ago, we came out with a product called Sizzle Thin. And Sizzle Thin is a blend of these beta hydroxybutirates, which is a salt that your body produces when you're burning fat as energy.
Right.
And they found that if they give people this beta hydroxybutyrate, it's a messenger, and it tells your body to burn fat as energy, so you become a fat burning machine. But they've blended this, Andrea, with some fucoxanthins, and what are they?
Oh,
Fucoxanthins.
it's a substance from a brown seaweed that increases thermogenesis in your body.
Yep, lights the fire, and it burns fat as energy. And then we've also included some ashwagandha, which ashwagandha is a adaptogenic herb, and what that means is it balances out the cortisol levels from your adrenal glands, because we found that stress is a sabotager for losing weight.
Yeah, I just saw an article where it was saying that when you have a high release of cortisol in your body doesn't know what to do with all of it. And so it like sticks it in your fat cells.
And it causes you to make more fat, because when you're stressed out, your body thinks, hey, we got to get prepared for the next stressful event. Well, guess what, folks? I mean, we live in a stressful world right now. Watch the news. It'll stress you out. Read the paper. It'll stress you out. I mean, just living is so stressful today, Andrea. Um, I mean, we're worried about having enough money. We're worried about having a job. We're worried about, who's going to die from COVID. I mean, all these different things, right? And so all the more reason to take Sizzle Thin. I mean, even if you're normal weight, I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and she said, "Well, I'm in shape," and she is. I mean, she's a bodybuilder, and she doesn't have any problem with weight. But I said, "There's so many beneficial things with Sizzle Thin. Just take it." Take it
Mm-hmm.
every day. Take one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Just take two a day if you're not trying to lose weight. And what it's going to do, it's going to help keep your body in that fat burning mode, right? And then watch your diet. Do more of a keto style diet. And I was reading another study last night that a friend of mine sent me, and she said that, well, if you do total keto, they found that people that do total keto type diets, they have an increased risk of osteoporosis and osteopenia. Did you know that?
Nope. And I don't believe it.
Well, so let's just say that the study is right. It was in a peer-reviewed medical journal, whether you can believe it or not. But okay, so I just tell people, okay, look, you want to have increased vitamin D, you want to have increased vitamin K2, you want to have those things anyhow, because they're
Mm-hmm.
showing that as we get older, our risk of having osteoporosis and osteopenia goes up. So why not just say, hey, let's address those issues right away. I mean, whether you're keto or not keto, you want to do that. And so I started taking those some vitamin K and some vitamin D last year in
Mm-hmm.
response to COVID. But then I found out when I broke my back that, holy cow, I mean, I just turned 59, and my bone strength is better according to the X-rays and the CT scan than most people my age. So those are a couple things. Omega 3s. I mean, you and I have talked about omega 3s till the sun doesn't shine, haven't we?
Right.
Omega 3s are so important, and our omega 3 is actually, it's a supra omega, right? And that's
Right.
because we've put in a blend of the omega 3s and the 6s and the 9s and the 5s and the 7s. We put in a blend that supports good cardiovascular health. And then on top of it, when the Mauers formulated this, they threw in CoQ10.
Right. Supports the
CoQ10.
heart.
Yep. CoQ10. They found that CoQ10 is so important for brain health and heart health. So they have that in there. And then the 4Restore. You heard me mention that before. 4Restore, it has ingredients, Nobel Prize winning ingredients is how we want to say it. The product itself isn't Nobel Prize winning, but the ingredients are. And they found that when a person takes L-citrulline and L-arginine, it helps to have clean arteries out, like a roto-rooter going through the arteries and cleaning them out, makes the arteries so they're soft and pliable. And guess what, Andrea? That helps with blood pressure, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Helps with blood pressure. And then we want to talk about Eternity, which has got Resveratrol. I'm watching the UPS guy here. I might have to run to the door. I'm getting a windshield delivered for my pickup today. But so the Resveratrol, which is in our Eternity product, I remember, I was working with somebody that had plugged carotid arteries, and I had them take a triple dose of Eternity, and they were able to get that under control. Their cardiovascular surgeon verified it and was able to cancel the surgery because they were going to put stents in her arteries, and they were able to avoid the surgery, Andrea, because of Resveratrol. Yeah. And Spectramax is so important. I mean, you and I can go on and on and on about Spectramax, but folks, Spectramax has 74 trace minerals. It's got 40 antioxidants. You got to have those things in your diet because, like we were talking about earlier, food doesn't have nutrition in it like it used to. It's got empty calories, lots of empty calories. And so, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Sizzle Sport. I love Sizzle Sport. Do you drink that?
I'm out of it right now, but I just ran out of coffee, so I'm going to order Sizzle Sport because it seems like the perfect morning pick-me-up for summer.
I found since I drink my Sizzle Sport in the morning, I drink less coffee. I can get by. Most days I don't even drink. I don't drink
Last
2 cups.
month I had Sizzle Sport. I loved it. Every morning I couldn't wait to get out of bed just to go drink it.
Yep. A cold. I make it really, really cold. I get the water to come out ice cold, and I mix it in there, and it tastes like just a really good glass of pink lemonade.
Yes.
And I like it. I like it. It helps with energy. It increases the fat burning. It helps with stress. Andrea, I never seem to get stressed anymore about much till my crazy dog does stuff. But
that child.
yeah. Oh, 2 a.m. This dang dog is running around the house, and you can hear him running around. And in the dark, he finds something that he shouldn't have, and I can hear him chewing on it. So I got to get up, and finally last night, Andrea, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I had to throw him in the kennel.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I'll let you close out the call, folks. It's not just important to get your weight under control for when you look in the mirror. You want to get your weight under control because it helps with lowering your risk of cardiovascular disease. It helps you lower your risk, like we talked about, kidney disease, stroke, Alzheimer's. I haven't finished the study this morning, but reading it. But it was a study that said that it lowers your risk of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and dementia, all those things, Andrea. And isn't that important? I mean,
sure is. Nobody wants that.
Yeah. Last week we talked about, getting older, things that we want to do to try and get older. And this is one of them. So I'll let you close out the call, Andrea.
Well, thank you, Doug, for tuning in again this Tuesday to share important information with us. And we will see you next Tuesday. If not, in between, check out the page, Doctor's Clinic, Doc Biz with Friends. See you later. Bye.